We sell premium outdoor gear, whether it's ski, snowboard. We actually have a family of brands, so there's a total of like 6 different websites. It really is all about getting outside, and that's what we like to help people do.
Does Backcountry, is this the brand that creates the clothing and the gear that you guys sell?
We carry top brands such as Patagonia, North Face, but we also do all of the R&D and produce our own set of gear.
Have you noticed any best practices that you disagree with?
I think the outdoor industry in general has always gone with a top of mountain type of approach. It's always like very aspirational, I would say.
What is your marketing philosophy with this type of industry?
How do we just show up in everyday life and everyday activities as well, which I think will make us more relatable, and I do believe is a differentiation outside of most of the competition in the outdoor space.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Andres Figueira and I'm going to be your host for the day. This show is brought to you by the Global Talent Company, helping fast-growing teams hire exceptional remote talent from Argentina, South Africa, and beyond. We connect companies with world-class professionals who bring skill, reliability, and a global perspective to every role. And just for our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your first hire. All you need to do is visit globaltalent.co, click Start Hiring, and mention the podcast listener discount when we reach out. And with me here today, I am speaking with John St. Juliana, Senior Vice President of Marketing at Backcountry, a company that is set on providing the best outdoor gear and to be the best doing it. And with that said, John, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me. Doing well.
We're so glad that we were able to make this work. And John, just so that we are able to put the audience a bit more in context here, would you be able to tell us more about your background, how you came to be the Senior VP of Marketing at Backcountry, and what Backcountry does in your own words?
Yeah, absolutely. Background, I'm a math guy, so I actually have a math degree. So many paths in marketing for sure. And mine was all about the data. So math degree, I wrote 6-page marketing proofs in college and, proving basic things with advanced theorems and stuff. Glad that's behind me. Definitely kind of found my way into business with that math background, and started with data analytics, CRM, and kind of just grew the career from there. But definitely the analytics side of the brain versus the mass creative side of the brain. So I'm happy I have really strong teammates and team members on that side for sure. And as it relates to Backcountry, we sell amazing gear. So we sell premium outdoor gear, whether it's ski, snowboard, hike, climb, bike. We have it all. We actually have a family of brands. So there's a total of like 6 different websites, whether it's from power sports to cycling to deals, things like that. So
Wow.
it's a pretty big family, and it's all about getting outside. It really is all about getting outside, and that's what we like to help people do.
That's amazing, man. And I love how Backcountry is, well, you mentioned it. It's like several brands. And my question is, in terms of what Backcountry represents, John, what is your marketing philosophy with this type of industry?
Yeah, for us, one of our tags, if you will, is venture beyond. Like, how do we help people get outside with premium gear? Like, we don't want to sell you something that's going to break down. So we want to make sure that it has very good quality to it, and that's that premium kind of positioning, and it comes out of more of a supporting people in the industry outside of anything else. It really is wanting to get people outside with really good gear, but then to go a little bit beyond. Our goat is part of our logo, and it really just represents goats climb high and get into really gnarly places, and we want people to be able to do that. And whatever the next thing is, it could be, well, I'm going to run a 10K instead of a 5K. That's the next thing. It could be, I'm going to scale this amazing peak, or I'm going to go backcountry skiing. Whatever it is, we want people to get out and do that.
I am a fan of the outdoors and exploring and doing all different sports. But my question is, does Backcountry, is this the brand that creates the clothing and the gear that you guys sell? Or are you more of a provider that takes different brands and sells those through Backcountry?
Yes to both. So we carry, top brands such as Patagonia, North Face, and the like. But we also do all of the R&D and produce our own set of gear. We call it Backcountry Gear and Apparel. You can definitely find it on the site. We have some pretty fun ski kits, some limited edition colors, things like that. Sun protection, just like sun hoodies and sun protection in the summer, is another popular product. So a little bit of both. And again, it's all in there's great gear out there. We think we fill a niche with the stuff we create. And it's just to, again, get people outside, get them moving and enjoying.
Amazing, amazing. And John, do you have any example of a marketing campaign that you ran for Backcountry that went really well that you'd be able to tell us about and use as an example?
Yeah, tip our holiday. Holiday obviously is a big deal for us. That's when people are buying. We get that. But our creative and content team this last winter did an amazing job with really showcasing our holiday kind of gear guides and gift guides that we put together. But really, that came together in a nice culmination of a 30-second spot that we were able to run on some linear TV. We also ran it on streaming TV. We ran it on
Right.
YouTube video. And so, really utilizing that asset across multiple different platforms. One, helps it scale and makes the investment worth it. But two, the campaign is typically well received by customers. And then our creative team just knocked it out of the park this year, really connecting like this idea of the world's largest gear closet that we like to think we have with you can get access to that online and it helps you get outside. So it was fun, it was playful, but it really also connected the dots so consumers realized, hey, I can shop this online. It's not just Backcountry has this amazing stuff, but I can also go get it. So that CTA was just stronger this year and it really connected. So we took something that performed well, customers and consumers respond well, and I feel like we upped it just a little bit more this year.
Amazing. And do you have or have you noticed any pattern in the demographics that you serve with Backcountry? Is it like a certain age group, a certain type of person? Well,
Yeah.
obviously an outdoorsy person, but uh-huh.
Yeah, so, the kind of I mean, I've always ascribed to this averages are evil, so don't tell me what your average, order size is. I wanna see the distribution, that's kind of that math background, right? So I try not to look at averages even when it comes to demographics, but if we were to just kinda generalize the customer, it's a family, usually there's 2 adults in the home with some kids, at least 1 kid. More affluent. I mean, we do sell premium gear, so the price points are a little bit higher. And so it does generally take a level of income in order to really get into it. But again, part of that is we just want to make sure we're selling really good gear. But yeah, it's typically a more affluent family. Our male female split, we skew a little bit more male, but not terribly. So it's close to 50-50. It skews a little more male, but yeah.
No, and I get what you mean when you mention that like more affluent families are the ones that are able to purchase these products. But I feel that outdoor sports, you need the best gear in order to do them safely and correctly. And that is something it's an investment you have to do in order to be able to do these practices and these sports properly.
Yep.
So I
Absolutely.
totally
You
get
you
it.
don't want a plastic ski, right? You don't want a plastic ski, right? Like so there is this level of, some of these sports just require a little bit more investment. That said, we also, right, we're a retailer, we're running deals throughout the year and things like that. And so there's usually a point in time throughout the year that, that the product is attainable for everyone. It's not unattainable. And I guess I don't want to portray it as that. It's just it definitely is a little bit more affluent, but that's just because of the sport. A Tahoe sun hoodie, yeah, no problem. You can, that's not expensive. But getting skis or snowboards, yeah, they cost money. So
No, I totally understand. And me, I'm originally from Venezuela, so I compare it to like kite surfing or windsurfing, that you need this whole gear and an important thing to be out in the ocean and doing a water sport that could be dangerous and even life threatening if you're not using the proper gear. And it's like you gotta be able to invest properly in what you want to do. So I totally understand that, man.
yep, absolutely, absolutely.
And John, have you noticed between the competitors that Backcountry may have and how the industry of outdoor sports and retail works, have you noticed any best practices or ways of marketing their products or their brands that you disagree with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the outdoor industry in general has always gone with many times a top of mountain type of approach. And we just talked about how expensive it is. And there's this top of mountain approach of here's the epic line on the mountain that someone took from a ski, or even from a just the models that are shown and things like that, right? It's always like this very aspirational, I would say. So like there's usually this very aspirational. And I think that inspires people, but I think there's an element of being able to connect with people in reality as well. And so that's something I will say, like we still very much show aspirational imagery and footage and things like that. Um, but that's one side of marketing. As we think about like events and partnerships and sponsorships and stuff, that's where us being involved with something like, the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, right? So like high school cycling, right? Like we're involved there. That's real. People aren't necessarily buying $10,000 bikes in order to compete in high school, right? And so we're very involved there, just being at the trailhead and things like that. We have work to do on the backcountry brand side of that, but like that's kind of the mission is how do we just show up in everyday life and everyday activities as well, which I think will make us more relatable, and I do believe is a differentiation outside of most of the competition in the outdoor space.
Okay, I hadn't seen it in that way in which you just portrayed it, but I totally agree with that in the fact that several brands I know that are outdoorsy, it's like a very aspirational campaign of a dude that looks like he's been climbing his whole life and he's at the peak of a mountain and about to make it, and you're like, I'll never be there. Like I'll never do that. So do I really need that jacket? It's
Yeah.
more
Yeah, yep. And again, like there's an element of that because I mean, and if you just work out, right? There's this element of whatever it's a vision board or where you want to be. And so I think that is important, whether just marketing or life, like what's the objective? Where do I want to be? And we really want to give people something to strive towards. So that's not going away, but I do think there's a balance that we can achieve, or at least help balance the scale a little bit. And how we view that is maybe less in the videos and the imagery, but more just in how we show up in real life. And I think that's something that we're just continuing to talk about internal as well.
and John, Backcountry is like are do you guys have physical retail stores, the online store? Do you guys only have and sell within the United States, or do you also serve markets like Canada and South America or maybe Europe? Not sure what
Yeah.
Backcountry was doing there.
Yeah, majority is US. We do ship some of the products internationally, and so you can visit the site and we serve it. It's an opportunity though, honestly, like just simple things. We can show currency and local currency versus US currency. We don't do that today, but I think that's an opportunity. The EU is we don't sell to the EU currently, but majority of the world is available to visit the site, but it's not our focus, is what I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your focus is to just expand within the United States and become like the leading brand in your home country for just
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, balancing that a little bit, we do view international expansion as an opportunity, but we still have so much room just to gain market share in the US, in our own backyard, if you will. So
yeah, it's like trying not to bite more than you can chew, and you're already just working on the states. So I would just try to like take up on the world later on when you've already dominated the US. It'll make it all that easier.
I mean, hey, we're trying to get the goat out there. There's a small shop in Chile that sells our backcountry gear and apparel, and so we're working on some avenues that way. So even if it's not through the website, are there wholesale opportunities or other retailer opportunities where we can distribute at least the gear that we make into those locations? So we're exploring things like that, but yeah, other than that, it's very much U.S. focused.
If any backcountry products arrive in Argentina, just let me know because I'm
I will.
here waiting to get the best gear to go down to Patagonia every
Yeah.
single winter to do snowboarding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but like I'm like I feel like I really know you guys because I've seen that logo so many times before. Like I've gone to the States and I've seen the little goat and I'm like, I know who these people are. So I know you've been there. And that leads to another question of mine. How old is Backcountry, man? Like how old has is the company?
Yeah, boy, put me on the spot. I believe it was 99 or 2000 is when Backcountry was established. It was a former Olympian and friend, and they started with an avalanche beacon. So it was just, a beacon for avalanche safety, and they started selling out of their garage. Then this thing called the internet really took off, and they just started listing products on the internet, and it grew from there. But it was literally a small single car garage in Park City, Utah, that started this whole thing, 20, 25, 26 years ago type of thing. So yeah.
Oh my goodness, that really is a long time for a brand to be in the market and to still be successful. That's like such a cool thing, man. And how big is Backcountry in terms of the workforce you guys have, and how many people do you have helping you out?
Yeah, we have a pretty distributed workforce. We have two different fulfillment centers in the United States, and boy, man, I actually don't know total workforce. Editing guys can do a good job with this one, but I would say, in general, like the workforce is we're several hundred strong for sure. And it flexes across the year depending on the needs in like our fulfillment center and our call center.
Is the Backcountry environment for working, is it remote first, or do you guys have several headquarters or different offices in like around the United States?
We have a main corporate headquarters in Salt Lake City, Utah. So we're staying in Utah. That's our roots. That's where we are, and that's where the majority of the corporate workforce is. Our call center and customer service representatives, they're a little bit more distributed. And then we obviously have two fulfillment centers, one on the East Coast and one in the Rockies. So
And now that leads, well, I always like to ask about the workforce and how that's going. And then I love to then switch it up to AI. And are you guys leveraging AI in any weird or peculiar way that you're able to tell us about?
yeah, weird or peculiar? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I don't know how to define that. But in general, yes. I mean, we have, especially over the last, I would say, 18 months for sure. We have really just it's easy to say AI forward and AI first. What does that really mean? How we've looked at it is through a lens of automation as one lens. Like, where can we use it just to be faster? Like the classic manufacturing, but it applies to corporate world of just for this, can I get more widgets per hour in an output, right? So like that's a lens we've looked at it. The other lens is, can we then improve the quality of the output with same resources? So it's not only more output, but it's quality. And so, because of that, we've been able to automate and scale various aspects, whether it's content, which is definitely a little bit of a debatable topic right now.
It
We've
is.
we've looked at it more, like how do we use it to get faster with image editing, just as a very simple example. What else can we do to leverage it to help with, writing long form content, or at a minimum reducing the research needed to produce the long form content, right? So it's allowing us to scale our long form content that we're producing. We're using it automations and things like that just for data transfers and stuff. So it's a really interesting landscape right now from an AI perspective. We've kind of come from this like SaaS, everything was hosted, then now you have the SaaS environment, now you have this AI environment, which is really fascinating, just more philosophically, because certain levels of SaaS providers can now just be done in-house leveraging AI, whether it's AI
Mhm.
coding, whether it's automation processes and stuff. And so I think the vendor landscape is going to be really interesting over the next few years too, how that evolves, because things that were needed previously that you had to buy, you can now build so much easier. And it's added tool access to business users, not just technical experts, but business users now can do more technical, higher level technical things than they've been able to in the past. And so it's starting to shift that. And then I guess internally, as a marketer, you kind of don't pay attention to this, but the IT folks do, is like you kind of have the shadow IT department now within marketing because you're doing IT type things and you don't need IT to help you. So so you kind of have that, anyway, like how do you put the right controls around it and things like that. So definitely working through that. But
No, I love how you frame that because I really do agree in the fact that AI has lowered the barrier of entry for more technical tasks that people before needed to look for help or hire an agency or a third party to help you out with that. Now AI has allowed that the normal person or regular worker from a company can really take care of those things. And I've also noticed that with retail a lot, like with stores and brands similar to Backcountry, is that AI is being leveraged a lot for customer success as well to handle comments,
yep.
complaints, and to be able to screen a big amount of them and then delegate the ones that need human assistance and human introspection to be able to be done properly. It delegates those. But that's also another way that I've been seeing AI be used. And I think that's really cool because it really is changing the scenario and how things work as to opposed as how they have been working
Yes.
before.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And John, in terms of, well, I know that it's already February, but we're still beginning the year. But now that we're in Q1 of 2026, what is your vision and your goal for what you'd like to accomplish at Backcountry this year?
I think that the answer to that question requires like even a little reset. So COVID, the outdoor industry boomed, and then you came out of COVID, and it's been a struggle, especially obviously relative to COVID. But if you look across the outdoor, and even the retail landscape, you see, certain iconic brands even filing Chapter 11, closing the stores, having to downsize significantly, things like that. Like there's a struggle in the outdoor space, and somewhat pridefully, but also excitedly, like Backcountry's not in that position, right? Like we're in this
Okay.
position. Last year we added and partnered with a couple great brands. We added a regional level 9 sports. That's well known in Utah, had a small national presence. We've added Bike Tires Direct to strengthen our bike offering, and we're continuing to look, right. So expansion is kind of the name of the game for us. Like how do we grow
Okay.
organically and inorganically? But it really is about growth. So we're pretty bullish on what the future holds here, and bullish on the outdoor industry. We think we have a lot of great brands. We're adding services to that. And how do we continue to expand our offering? We relaunched our loyalty program, and have a loyalty program that is providing a ton of value to customers. It wasn't designed by the finance department to, try to maximize profit in the short term. It was designed with the customer in mind first. Right. And
Okay.
so we're passing every benefit on, and we keep adding benefits to it and looking for partners in the outdoor space. Like how can people get out? How can they get a lift, a ski pass cheaper by being a part of our loyalty program? How can they, get access to great gear cheaper? How do we lower the barriers and provide amazing benefits for a customer as part of the loyalty program? So a little bit of a rambling there, but like those are the things that really excite us. Is again kind of how do we lower the barrier to get people outside within the kind of confines of our loyalty program. And so that creates loyalty to us from a mind share perspective. In addition to a purchase, it also gets people doing the activity more, which ultimately it definitely benefits us. But if we get more people doing the activity, it raises the tide in the outdoor space, and we'll be rewarded with our share in there for sure.
I love how that is one of the things that you want to take care of and keep building on this year. And it's the fact that, yeah, loyalty programs, they provide benefits to your customers and your consumers. But what really matters there is that you're creating a community that more people want to form a part of. And not just because of the benefits, but if everything goes well, if outdoor sports and those people start to do it more, it just starts to trend even more. And Backcountry being positioned as such an important brand and something that is beginning to trend once more is going to be like such a nice spot to be in when everybody wants to do a winter sport. When, well, you guys are right now in winter, I'm in summer. I can't wait until winter and go and hit the slopes. It's like, oh my goodness, it's like counting
Yeah.
the day.
I tell you what, man, when we want to capture winter content in the summer months in the northern part of the of the world, Yeah, it's we're trekking to New Zealand or to Patagonia or someplace because that's where the snow is. So and it's been a rough snow year in the US in general. The East Coast and the Midwest has had snow, but a lot of the big mountains in the Rockies and stuff, it's been a low snow year, so people have been definitely chasing snow this year for sure.
And well, I'm noticing that we're almost at time, John. But before I do let you go and I close out the episode, I did want to give you the chance to let anybody who is hearing us, who is interested in the Backcountry products and what Backcountry offers, how could they go about looking at your catalog, seeing if they can get something delivered to where they're at? How would that process look?
Absolutely. Just kind of hit the URL, backcountry.com. It's that simple. I would also say, the portfolio of brands that I mentioned earlier, we have competitivecyclist.com. If you're really into cycling, we have a site called steepandcheap.com where that's where you're gonna find some deals there. You'll definitely find some deals there. Biketiresdirect.com as well, as we talked about. So yeah, it really is hit the URL. And if you have questions, one of the things that's part of our ethos is this concept of gearheads. We have an amazing customer service team. We call them gearheads. They don't just answer questions, like they do this stuff, right? They're doing backcountry skiing, they're cycling, they're running marathons, they're participating in triathlons, they're doing this stuff. And because of that, you can give them a call and they absolutely will walk you through here's how they would get set up to do the activity. That is just something we're really proud of. You mentioned it kind of in the age of AI, we're definitely leveraging it, but we also don't want to lose this gearhead ethos because it's a human connection, which is, I think, potentially even more important as we move forward in time than ever. And we have that, and so that's another thing. You can chat with one live or give a call, and they absolutely will get you set up.
That is so cool. That must be the fittest customer service team that there is around there. If they're
Yeah, it's
running.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Oh, but amazing. So, anybody who is here listening and is interested, you heard it here first. Just hit the URL. There's for many different disciplines. So, just go to backcountry.com if you're not sure. But if one of the other ones rang a bell in your head, then just go to that one. But with that said, John, thank you so much, man, for hopping on the show with us, for coming and telling us your insights and all about your experience at Backcountry. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was fun. It was fun. I appreciate it.
With that said, thank you so much, man. And to anybody who is here listening to us, thank you so much as well for coming on the show to listen to us, to learn about the different personalities that we talk to, and all the different industries that we're learning about. So, with that said, have a good one.